Yeah, I find that we apologize for asking for what we want, but women are, seem perceived as being demanding or difficult.
Was there a coordinated smear campaign to bring down Blake Lively?
100% no.
For me, a key part of my faith is figuring out what your individual...
Blake Lively's once untouchable reputation is unraveling as unsettling accounts about her alleged behavior surface. Former assistants, colleagues, and industry insiders are coming forward with stories that clash sharply with her polished public image. From mistreating interns to clashing with co-stars, the cracks in her carefully constructed persona are beginning to show. At the center of the storm is her legal battle with Justin Baldoni, whom she accuses of harassment and defamation. But instead of winning sympathy, the lawsuit has only intensified scrutiny, pushing fans and media to dig deeper into her past. Each new testimony adds weight to a troubling portrait of a star whose charm may be more performance than reality. Is this simply an exaggerated smear campaign or a long overdue reckoning? Either way, the controversies circling Blake Lively now threaten to redefine her legacy in Hollywood.
Weirded out. I actually cried on the train home. I used to take the train back to Long Island. I was mortified. Again, not only did I not treat her unprofessionally, but nobody to my experience that I saw spoke to her. I'm like, her? I didn't speak to anyone, let alone her, didn't know who she was. And so I was very confused. And they specifically kept saying, I'm freaking out. Am I going to lose my job at this point? Because you know how interns, the gravity of it hits me as I walk out and I just start crying because I'm like.
Blake Lively's former assistant has come forward with an emotional account of humiliation and mistreatment dating back to the filming of The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. At the time, Blake was still an unknown. Yet her behavior allegedly carried a sense of entitlement that stunned those around her. The assistant recalls being accused of acting like a man and scolded simply for doing her job, baseless attacks that left her blindsided and in tears. What began as a single unsettling confrontation soon escalated into fear of losing her position, all at the whim of a rising actress's ego. Though once dismissed as an isolated incident, the story has since taken on new weight as others step forward with similar claims. Accounts from Blake's early career now suggest a troubling pattern: arrogance, belittlement, and disregard for those she worked alongside. One particularly striking episode during the filming of Sisterhood is said to have created lasting tension on set, cementing suspicions that Blake's on-screen charm masked something far less flattering behind the scenes. Blake Lively allegedly carried herself like a Hollywood star long before she earned the title, dominating conversations and steering attention toward herself, often at the expense of others. During press events for the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, she was said to shift discussions away from the ensemble and toward her own future projects, frustrating co-stars, most notably America Ferrera, whose visible discomfort during interviews did not go unnoticed. Her behavior reportedly extended beyond cast interactions to the press itself, where she often left journalists feeling belittled. One reporter recalled a cringe-worthy exchange in which Blake brushed off a compliment and made a sarcastic remark about her own looks, leaving the interviewer embarrassed. Over time, these stories accumulated, painting the picture of an ambitious actress whose self-importance alienated those around her. While Blake's polished public image largely shielded her from criticism, insiders describe a stark gap between her glamorous persona and her off-camera demeanor. That gap became glaring during the Café Society promotional tour, when a reporter congratulated her on her pregnancy. Instead of accepting the sentiment graciously, she reportedly turned the moment into a sarcastic jab at the reporter's own appearance, a move that highlighted the tension between her curated charm and her alleged arrogance. Now, with accounts piling up from former assistants, co-stars, journalists, and industry insiders, Blake Lively's off-screen reputation is facing growing scrutiny, threatening to overshadow the very image she spent years perfecting. During the early press run for Café Society, Blake Lively's media presence sparked controversy. When a reporter congratulated her on her pregnancy, instead of responding graciously, she reportedly deflected with a sarcastic jab about the reporter's appearance, an exchange many deemed awkward, unprofessional, and lacking empathy. Later in the same interview, when asked about her experience working with Woody Allen, she sidestepped the controversy with vague praise for his directing style. This evasive response drew sharp criticism, especially from those who noted her public support of the non-Me Too movement while simultaneously defending Allen, a figure long accused of abuse. Dylan Farrow herself condemned Blake for the contradiction. pointing out the hypocrisy of condemning Harvey Weinstein while excusing Allen. Beyond interviews, rumors about Blake's personal life have fueled skepticism about her authenticity. Whispers suggest her romance with Ryan Reynolds may have begun while he was still married to Scarlett Johansson, sparking accusations of home-wrecking that clash with her carefully cultivated image as a devoted wife and mother. Though never confirmed, these suspicions have lingered and complicated her public persona. Tensions with colleagues have only deepened this perception. During the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, an assistant recalled being humiliated and scolded by Blake, left in tears after her alleged displays of authority. Co-star America Ferrera reportedly appeared uncomfortable during press events, where Blake was said to dominate conversations and redirect attention to herself. On Gossip Girl, insiders described a cold distance between Lively and Leighton Meester, with castmates feeling pressured to take sides despite the duo's convincing on-screen friendship. Even actors like Armie Hammer and Anna Kendrick hinted at difficulties working with her, signaling an ongoing pattern of strained collaborations. Journalists, too, have spoken of her condescension in interviews, recalling sarcastic remarks and dismissive tones that undercut her polished, approachable image. That Cafe Society pregnancy remark became a defining example, reinforcing concerns about her off-camera demeanor. Taken together, these accounts suggest a recurring theme. Blake Lively's ambition, self-importance, and need to control narratives have fostered professional strain and public doubt. While her screen presence projects warmth and charm, critics argue her real-life behavior tells a more complicated and often contradictory story. The rumored affair with Ryan Reynolds, contrasted with Blake Lively's ongoing efforts to project the image of a flawless marriage, has long cast doubt on the authenticity of her public persona. Industry whispers have suggested she may be willing to leverage personal relationships for professional gain, a perception that collides with her outspoken advocacy for women's empowerment. Critics point to her continued defense of controversial figures and reports of domineering behavior toward assistants and colleagues as evidence of hypocrisy and carefully managed image-making designed to preserve influence and public favor. Her reputation in Hollywood is now under sharper scrutiny as more insiders, from former assistants to co-stars and journalists, share stories that collectively challenge her portrayal as warm, relatable, and approachable. Early in her career, during the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, she was allegedly known for asserting authority in ways that left colleagues humiliated or demoralized. This pattern reportedly extended far beyond assistants, encompassing co-stars, interviewers, and industry professionals, suggesting a broader tendency towards self-interest, dominance, and narrative control. While her screen presence remains polished and glamorous, accounts of dismissive or condescending interactions with journalists and tense relationships with co-stars highlight a stark disconnect between her public image and reported behavior. These narratives suggest an actress whose conduct has, at times, alienated both colleagues and the press. On set, the tensions have been notable. Anna Kendrick has subtly hinted at friction during past collaborations, with her body language and remarks fueling speculation of a strained dynamic. On Gossip Girl, the long-rumored animosity between Lively and Leighton Meester fostered a divided atmosphere, with cast members allegedly pressured to choose sides. Such reports reinforce the perception of a recurring pattern in which Blake's influence, ambition, and need for control overshadow collaborative relationships. As these stories accumulate, the once unquestioned narrative of Blake Lively as approachable, charming, and relatable grows increasingly difficult to sustain. Whether isolated incidents or part of a broader pattern, the allegations raise deeper questions about authenticity, accountability, and the cost of maintaining a tightly curated public image under Hollywood's relentless spotlight. Blake Lively's treatment of journalists. Kathy Flaw, during a Cafe Society press event, reportedly left such a sour impression that Flaw admitted the encounter made her consider leaving the profession altogether. Incidents like these have fueled the perception that Blake's charm doesn't always extend beyond the big screen. Even within Hollywood, an industry notorious for protecting its own, there are signs that insiders are quietly distancing themselves as new allegations surface. For years, Blake has been admired for her pristine public image, celebrated as a style icon, doting mother, and one half of a glamorous power couple with Ryan Reynolds. Their playful banter and carefully crafted appearances cemented their status as Hollywood's golden pair. Yet a growing chorus of former assistants, co-stars, and journalists has begun chipping away at that narrative, painting a picture of someone who, behind the glamour, is accused of controlling behavior and dismissive treatment of others. From reported on-set clashes with Leighton Meester to sharp remarks directed at Kathy Flaw, the contrast between the polished public persona and the private accounts has become increasingly difficult to ignore. Adding to the tension are long-circulating rumors that Blake and Ryan began their romance while Reynolds was still married to Scarlett Johansson. Though never confirmed, the whispers of overlap continue to haunt her image, undermining her cultivated identity as the ideal wife and mother. The silence she has maintained in the face of these claims has only amplified public attention, leaving fans and industry observers wondering whether her persona is a carefully managed illusion or whether detractors are exaggerating personal grievances. In today's digital age, where authenticity is currency, Blake's next steps are critical. Addressing allegations head-on, acknowledging missteps, or demonstrating personal growth could help rebuild trust and secure her place in the industry. Conversely, continued silence risks alienating fans and collaborators alike, leaving speculation to shape her narrative. At its core, this unfolding saga reflects the deeper tension between celebrity image and off-screen reality. Allegations of bullying, rumored affairs, and professional conflicts have ignited broader conversations about accountability in Hollywood, where the carefully constructed facade of fame is often at odds with human flaws. For Blake Lively, the crossroads is clear. Will she seize the chance to confront criticism, embrace transparency, and write a comeback story grounded in genuine change? Or will the mounting allegations define her legacy? Hollywood may love redemption arcs, but only when they are backed by real transformation.